Did you take the kids to see Maleficent? I think that's how you pronounce it. According to one, it's gotta be progressive website, do you know that this Sleeping Beauty remake is actually a metaphor for rape? That's right, maybe you missed that. But according to the director and Angelina Jolie herself, this classic tale of a prince who kisses a Goyle was actually about rape. No kidding. This is what a woman at Bustle.com had to say about Maleficent. When you think about it, rape isn't new to the Disney Sleeping Beauty story. Now it's just being handled properly instead of being glorified. If you really look at it, a strange man thinking he's entitled to a kiss with Aurora simply because she's there. She's asleep and has no way of consenting to a stranger's touch. Yes, this is a much more mild form of rape, I would say so, but it sets an example for young children that kissing someone when they can't agree is not only allowed, but considered sweet. Yeah, that's exactly what I took away from Sleeping Beauty when I watched it years ago. These days, the modern remakes of Disney classics have new spins to them. They definitely have a message. According to this reviewer, the movie is actually about rape, just like Sleeping Beauty was. That leads to a couple of thoughts. Number one, kissing a sleeping stranger is wrong. But when did we determine that was a form of rape? Okay, I grant you, the guy shouldn't have kissed the girl. I'm not sure anybody thought about that as being a violation of any way, shape, or form back then, but I grant you, you shouldn't kiss a strange woman who is sound asleep because of a curse from a witch. If you ever find yourself in that situation, don't be doing that. But seriously, that is rape. Do words have no meanings anymore? But the second, perhaps more insightful thought, courtesy of Matt Welsh, if consent and agreement is all it takes to ensure someone is not getting raped, then progressives have hardly gone far enough. These days, the battle cry on campuses, Campus Reform reports on what's going on in the campuses all the time. The battle cry of feminists is that before two people hook up, before they do that, they need to state, yes, I want to do this act. It needs to be loud, it needs to be clear, it needs to be explicit, a granting of consent before two people do what only a married couple should be doing. That is their way of preventing somebody from getting abused by somebody who could be taking advantage of them. And Matt Walsh, his blog continues to just knock it out of the park, rightfully points out that this trend on college campuses is hardly enough to get the job done. The feminists state that a woman has to be able to say, yes, I want you to do this. And so too does the fellow, because they don't want somebody's feelings to get hurt or their body to be taken advantage of. But let's ponder some other scenarios. Could it be that a fellow who is just on a rebound relationship is using a girl, and even though he says, yes, I want to do this, in his mind, he's actually just wanting to take advantage of the poor girl. In other words, what gets revealed with this progressive nonsense is that thought police need to be applied to every scenario. We need to make sure that people are thinking rightly before they begin that activity. If they're not, then they shouldn't be doing it. Well, let's be reasonable about this. Is this practical? How is this going to work with all of the varied scenarios? A woman just happens to think that maybe the woman who says, yes, I would like to do this act, she did it on a dare. She did it because she wanted to get back at a roommate who did something really nasty to her. How in the world are we going to be able to make sure that those scenarios aren't actually transpiring after big kegger parties on college campuses without having somebody come in and say, let me just break this up for a moment. I have a couple of questions for you. It's nonsense. This type of thought policing of people can't possibly protect everybody in every situation. So let's ask a question. What could possibly keep people from getting abused and taken advantage of? Maybe, just some random thoughts here. Maybe if one man and one woman committed to a lifetime relationship where they sought each other's good before their own to make sure that they esteemed the other as better than themselves and promised to do nothing that would ever harm the other person till death do them part. Color me kooky, but maybe that is the best way to make sure that people on college campuses don't get taken advantage of. And what do you know? That's the biblical way. Progressives, they like to tell us, well, we can all be promiscuous and frisky, and then we need to create a bunch of rules because people seem to be taking advantage of one another. So now they find themselves in a bit of a conundrum, and the solution to their problem is to go back to the Bible and to do it the way that God said it should be done. That intimacy should only take place between one man, one woman, in a lifelong covenanted relationship, and then the odds of somebody being taken advantage of somebody being raped, they go down to about 0.